So, good evening, everybody, and welcome back again with another live show on the channel tonight. We are discussing about that man there, Mr. Gareth Southgate, whether he should be removed as England manager if England have a shocking 2022 World Cup. There's a lot of fans asking for him to go already. I mean, the UEFA Nations League we've played this one has been absolutely diabolical. We could drop down to Division B. That would. This is why I didn't bother with the games as well. I just couldn't be chewed with them because I thought I just can't be arsed with them at the moment, and it was just crap, absolute crap. Well, see, I've got Tony, John, and Chippaz for tonight's show. They'll be interested to get their guys' thoughts for tonight as well. We'll start with you, Tony. I know you want him gone already, but if England have a stinking World Cup, that's got to be the end for him, surely.
Well, it's got to be, Pete, but I want him out now, and I want him out this week because, yes, there's 8 weeks to the World Cup, and I don't buy what some of these pundits are saying. Oh, well, there's 8 weeks to the World Cup, you can't sack a manager now. Bullshit. Of course you can. And I'm sorry, there are plenty of other managers out there who would quite happily come in and do a damn well better job than what Southgate is doing. The man is a total negativity. Everything he does is negative. I brought it up the other night on our show with John and about the amount, and I showed John a few different squads. And every squad you look at, it's packed with defenders and very few attackers.
Yep.
And is this the man we really want to lead us to Qatar? No, we do not. He needs to go, and he needs to go this week or as soon as possible. If the FA have got any balls about them, they will sack him and get another manager in, because I am sick of seeing the same old shite from this guy. That's all you ever see is defensive, defensive, defensive. It wouldn't be so bad if we were scoring plenty of goals, but we are doing nothing under him. The Nations League, three draws in that league, in that Nations League. Disappointing. Couldn't even beat Hungary, you know?
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's disappointing. You know, we should have beat Germany the other night. You know, unfortunately, Nick Pope makes an error. But, you know, but there again, it's not just down to Nick Pope. You've got to look at the defence. Maguire, a liability. You know, Luke Shaw's never played for his club this season. Maguire's played very few games this season. Now, Southgate says, I'll pick players who are on form and playing regular. Well, I'm sorry, you're not picking players who are playing regular. There's plenty of other left-backs out there who could be playing. You've got Chilwell. You've got Kel Walker-Peters of Southampton, who's a cracking left-back. You've got Matt Targett in Newcastle playing regular games. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got Dan Burn, who plays regular at Newcastle for centre-half. So why isn't he ahead of Maguire? You know? Mm. But now he's saying he will stick by these players. This man is an absolute fraud. They should change his name from Gareth Southgate to Gareth Relegate, because he took Middlesbrough down and now he's took England down to Pool B. And what's more embarrassing is we're noisy neighbours up north. Scotland are now in Group A and they're laughing at us. And they think it's brilliant that they've gone above us, and it's like passing ships in the night. They've gone above and we've gone down. And now they're lapping it up.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. The fact is, in this UEFA Nations League, we've just played it. We've picked up no wins. No wins.
It's absolutely embarrassing, Pete. I mean, you know, against Italy, when we played at Molineux in the summer, although it was a 0-0 draw, we didn't look like we were going to score any goals. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing is, when we played Germany the other night, we were 2-0 down, and he brought Saka on and he brought Mount on. All of a sudden, Saka starts running at the Germans. And then Shaw pulls a goal back for us. And then Mount, with that superb goal, I mean, you know, it was a cracking goal, don't take it away from him, brought us back into it 2-2. Then we get the penalty, Harry Kane. Yeah, so then we get the penalty. Harry Kane puts that away, as he always does. But, you know, we saw a little bit of attacking intent there. But it's no good seeing that now. We should have been seeing that months ago. We should have been seeing that in the summer. Maybe in the summer the players didn't give a monkeys about the international because it just finished a long, hard Premier League season. So the last thing they were expecting was to start playing Nations League games. But it's because this World Cup is in the middle of winter in November, because you can't play it in the summer because it's too hot over there. So you've got to play it in November. You know, and so that's totally mucked up the whole calendar. But yeah, it's just embarrassing that we just could not win one of them Nations League games. I mean, I'm no disrespect to Hungary, but we should have beat them in both games. You know, we beat them in the World Cup qualifying, so away at their place and drew it home. Why couldn't we beat them this time round? And I just think sometimes with Southgate is some of these attacking players, he pulls the handbrake and tells them they can't go too far forward because they've got to play defensive. You watch Harry Kane. Now, you watch him for Spurs. He's been on fire this season for Spurs. But you watch him for England, and he's been made to drift on the left, drift on the right, but not play his natural game. And it looks like he's got the handbrake on at times as well. So Southgate, I'm sorry, has to go. He can't stay. But the FA are too stuck in their ways and haven't got the balls to sack him now with the World Cup looming. And like I say, there's 8 weeks till the World Cup, so there's plenty of time to get rid and get another manager in. And I'll tell you what, get Bielsa in, because he'll do a damn well better job than what Southgate does. I couldn't give a shit if we haven't got a defence under Bielsa, because we'll damn well score plenty goals because he's a good attacking manager. And the talent we've got in that squad and the talent in this country, there should be enough in that squad and in this country to go out there and win a World Cup.
Absolutely. Well, Chippaz, the fact is we haven't won a game in this UEFA Nations League, and going into a World Cup, I mean, the confidence is not going to be sky high. It's going to be right down there. And the players aren't going to be full of confidence, and even the fans aren't confident going into the World Cup as well.
There's no momentum, is there? It's completely gone. That's the problem. We're going into a World Cup with no momentum, with a team that, let's be honest, a lot of fans want the manager gone now. I didn't want Southgate in the manager in the first place because he hasn't achieved anything as a manager. So why should he get the right to manage England's best set of players when all he did was relegate Middlesbrough? He got the job obviously because Southgate got sacked because of what he did, meeting fake sheikhs and all this nonsense, and want to take bungs and backhanders. We all know it was meant to just be a temporary fix. Yeah, fair enough. He did well to stem the flow and get results, but then after that, they should have been big enough to say, you know what, Ian Southgate, you've done well. You've kept us even, kept us all afloat. But we need better. We need somebody that'll kick us on, and even get into a European final, a World Cup semi-final. We were very lucky in them tournaments to get to them positions because of who we played. I mean, in the World Cup, we played the likes of Panama and Tunisia and that, no offence, but they're teams you should be beating anyway. And then the first time we had a scare against Colombia, we're lucky to get through on penalties, if we're being honest. I mean, we took us a penalty to score in that game in normal time, if I'm sure. And then, of course, we lost to Belgium's B team already in the group games, so we lost to their first team in the same. We lost to their first team as well, and you just, it was like deja vu in the Euros where we got the lucky side of the draw. We played the Asian Germany side, who most of them don't even play in that team anymore. We then got to play. We were looking against Denmark. We had to score an injury time,
as well.
extra time penalty to get through the final, and then the final after the first minute we're ahead, and he just shut up shop after the first minute. He had no intent of going to get a second goal, which I think just shows how negative and embarrassing he is as a manager. And these EuroLeague games, he's been found out because we played the better nations. Like, we played Holland in that earlier on last season and we were awful. Then this season, I mean, we played Italy on Friday where they had just come off the back of a 5-2 battering in Germany. And then we of course, England turn up now. And the way I say England now is what Newcastle United used to be, where it's the team that turns up, where Newcastle turn up, and ultimately the team that haven't won in about 10 games get their first win. You know, we're that international team now where everyone wants to play because we're the beatable team, because they know where our strengths and weaknesses is, and the fact that they know that Southgate is going to play the same defenders who isn't playing at their clubs, i.e. Maguire, i.e. Shaw. You know, I don't think Stones was playing much at Man City, so he obviously gets an injury. Playing players out of position too regularly. It's unacceptable. I'm sorry, it just is. He's supposed to be a manager of England. We're supposed to have this is supposed to be our best corporate player since Euro '96. It's ridiculous, and he's just not good enough. It's as simple as that. You can paint everything all you want, saying, "Oh, we came back from 2-0 down against Germany and we scored 3 goals." Yeah, but people don't seem to realise that Germany should have been 3 or 4 or 5-0 up before we got even the first goal back because of the missed chance after chance after chance. And that annoys me even more. He came out after the game and, you know, he supported Shaw and he supported Maguire, but he didn't really support Pope when, you know, the ones that are more guilty of making mistakes he picks week in, week out, and that was only Pope's second international game for a while because Ramsdale played the other ones, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I just think, you know what, he's hanging somebody out to dry, you know, and he wouldn't even admit that he's wrong to pick these players when he said at the start of his tenure, when he got given the job permanently, players will be picked on reputation, they will be picked on performances. And again, this is another continuation of England managers who keeps picking players on reputation, and I'm sorry, none of them. It seems that whoever gets the job hasn't got the balls to say, you know what, stuff your reputations. You know, if you're on putting the performances on the pitch or not playing at all, you're on in the England team.
That's it.
Like Maguire and Shaw, who, let's be honest, Maguire hasn't kicked the ball since the second league game of the season, and that was about 6-7 weeks ago. And then you're looking at Luke Shaw; he's been injured all season. I don't think when was the last time he played. You know, how can we go into a World Cup positive when we kind of beat teams like, no offense, like Hungary, who they're not that great of a side. I don't care what people say; they're not great. They should be beating teams like Hungary if you want to win World Cups. You should be beating teams like Italy, who are in transition, who aren't even going to the World Cup, who just come back off a 5-2 hammering off Germany. And you're also playing Germany, who are a team in transition, who are going from their era sort of. I know Muller played, but they had like Philip Lahm and people like that who recently started retiring, and you know, and now they're changing their cycle. You should be beating them teams, considering this is, like I said, supposed to be our best side in almost 30 years. It's just not good enough. It really isn't, and I've got no hope at the World Cup at all. I'm going to watch this. I'll watch it, but I think the group stages is the best it's going to get for this team, and I don't want it. I mean, Spain sacked their manager 48 hours before the tournament, if I recall. Was it the Euros or the World Cup? One of the two. So I can't get rid of Southgate now when there's still 2 months left to the World Cup. If you get somebody in like who can do a job just for the World Cup, then that's fine, and then you get a permanent successor in. But we're not going to win anything with our Southgate. It's as simple as that. We've had our 2 best chances, and we couldn't even do that when we have the easiest run of the draw in 2 tournaments. So for me, unfortunately, I'm not very optimistic at all for going into this tournament. As you know, simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, John, if we don't win against Iran in the first game, I dread to think what will happen throughout the rest of the tournament.
Jesse's just mentioned about the Spanish manager got sacked 2 days, a couple of days before the news the tournament. It's because he flirted around Madrid. That's the reason why. So I'll get out of there. You're right. Back to we don't beat Iran. Thanks for having us on, Pete. By the way, good evening to everyone in the chat. Everyone's on, mate. You're right. They're nice to be out for Southgate if we don't win Iran. I mean, come on. I mean, no disrespect to Iran. I mean, they're a decent outfit, but the big but is, right, we should be beating teams like Iran. In fact, we should be beating teams like USA and Wales in that group stage. And you know what it is, right? I mean, I'm just going to treat this as another game, as another international game, because let's be real, right? I should be excited. Should be excited for the World Cup, right? I should be excited. But at the end of the day, Gareth Southgate is going to pick the 23, right? It's just going to be his mates. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be players on form, right? He's going to pick players on mates. Harry Maguire, he's come out and he said that, look, it's not him, it's us, right? But the defence is a shambles, an absolute shocker. I mean, Eric Dyer, that's okay. I think he's having a great season, by the way, Eric Dyer. I really do. John Stone's going to be out. I know that he's got a bad injury. I don't think he's going to make it. But play Dan Burn. Play Tomori for Milan as well. Give the kid a chance.
I mean, he hasn't had a chance, has he, so far? Another player that has not been given a chance, who Gareth Southgate selected, was Ivan Toney. Never used him.
Yeah. What's the point of picking someone, right, and then don't pick him in the games? Absolutely embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? He didn't even play Tammy Abraham as well in those games.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just goes to show that Gareth Southgate only picks his mates. Tammy Abraham had a cracking season with Roma in his first season. 27 goals, right? Some of them were belters, by the way. Let's be real, right? In fact, he had a better season than Batistuta had in his first season, and Batistuta won the Serie A title in his first season, right? But Tammy Abraham has been fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. You talk about playing on form. That guy was on form, yeah? Tomori, a champion with Milan, right? Fantastic defender. The fans loves him. Purely loves him, right? All the teammates loves him as well. And he had a stellar season, right? Yet, this guy, right, don't want to pick him, even though they're on form. He rather picks his mates. Like Graya, who is a mistakes proven, he is mistake prone, right? You want to call it, right? Mistaken is being proved, right? Have a look at the formation he plays. He plays 3 at the back. He's a cautious manager, right? I mean, Tony gave us the lineup from the 2006 World Cup, and when Austin took it in the World Cup as well, right? 10 defenders. 10 defenders, right? 3 goalkeepers, right? About 5 midfielders and 5 strikers, yeah? He is a defensive manager and it's now been proved it, right? I don't want to be a defensive, I don't want to be put to sleep, right? I want to see entertainment. I want to see entertaining football from England. I mean, we went 2-0 down, right? The best moment of the game, where he scored 3 goals in 12 minutes. That was our best spell, the whole of the game, right? The whole of the game, right? Other than that, right, we're just so cautious. We're quite happy to sit back, you know, and I just fallen asleep. You know what it is, Pete, right? I'm not being funny, right? But he's got to choose the 23, right? He's got to get selections right, by the way, because the nation's watching. I want to see Abraham in the squad. I want to see Tomori in the squad, right? But I'm afraid to say, I bet you use any money, he will not pick him at all whatsoever. He will not pick him because these players I mentioned are too good for Southgate. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we don't do well in the World Cup, right? Let's be real, right? His days is numbered. Oh, and by the way, just before you go on, right? There's 2 things. I can see Mason saying in the chat that Chris Smalling should be given a second chance. Absolutely. He's been outstanding.
No.
Sam, you haven't watched Italian football, mate. You haven't been watching Italian football. This guy had a brilliant season in Roma, right? He's already won your conference as well. So he's got a European medal under Jose Mourinho. Yeah, he's playing with one of the best managers in world football, right? And I'm going to say this is right. I'm going to say, right, he's got to get it the selections right, Southgate, because if he doesn't get it right and we don't win these games, the knives will be truly in for him as well. And yes, I think Smalling should give him a second chance, in my opinion, because he's been outstanding last season. I think he should give him a chance. He's better than Maguire this season on form.
He's 33, John. No, that's the problem. He's 33.
Bonucci's 33. But yeah, okay, it's not in the World Cup, right? But if it's in the World Cup, Chiellini is 35 and they won the Euros. Bonucci's 32. But I see what you mean.
John,
But he's been outstanding for Roma.
John, do you not think going back to him is not going backwards? It would be like us recall. It would be like going back and getting the offence, but obviously he's retired. But like Peter Crouch or someone like that, wouldn't it be similar to that? Like that ilk of. I know it's obviously they're retired, but it's like if you're going back to somebody, isn't that like desperate, a sign of desperation as opposed to evolving and moving forward and looking for players younger who have more longevity about them?
Sam, I respect your opinion, but yes, you know that, right? You know I respect your opinion all the time, you know what I mean? But you know what's your talent in football, right? And I checked out Smalling closely last season. Under Jose, he has been outstanding, right? You could ask any Roma fans, right? And they tell you exactly the same, right? But he's been
I
outstanding.
can't understand Italian though. I would struggle asking them because I don't think I can speak Italian, so I wouldn't know what they're saying.
Sì, un poco italiano.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm going to rattle through the comments because I'm not.
So tell on you quickly, right? Would you bring Chris Smalling back?
I need to see him first because I've not been watching Serie A, so I'll have to look on it more properly first. But if you say he's been good enough, John
He's
from
been
Roma, fair enough. Just before we go into the comments, please make sure you do hit the thumbs up. Of course, hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you're new to the channel or if you're enjoying the content and you're not yet subscribed, feel free to donate if we do have super chat as well. And feel free to become a member of the channel as well. Let's go through the comments because I've not looked through them yet. Mason, good evening. Hope you're well. ORT recent evening. Why would anyone watch the World Cup when people could watch their local team? I mean, a lot of the England fans are not looking forward to the World Cup, is what we just touched upon. ORT says Gareth Southgate is an absolute fraud. I know you just touched on that, Tony. I wanted him out after the Euro 2020 final. Even if Southgate goes as next manager, won't be an improvement. I mean, who could take over that job? I know you said Bielsa, Tony, which isn't a bad shout. I mean, it doesn't have to be an English manager. We've had foreign managers like Sven-Göran Eriksson. We've had Capello as well. So I don't think a foreign manager would be that bad for me.
Not at all. But the only problem is, like Bielsa, would we accept having an Argentinian in charge? That's the thing, because remember, we've got a lot of beef with Argentina over the Maradona handball, and that goes back to 86. Now, and then like some people are saying more about Tuchel, but again, some people are saying, do we want a German in charge of, so it goes on and on. But at the end of the day, Bielsa, as I say, plays attacking football. And a lot of these players would probably thrive under that. Even if you said to Southgate, right, you're gone, Bielsa in for the World Cup. If you have a good World Cup, then bang, you get out there and you get a contract, And I'm sure he would come in and do it. And, and the likes of Mason Mount, who haven't been playing well, will probably all of a sudden start playing better. Mm-hmm. Because the way he's so attack focused and attack minded.
Yeah.
So I think he would be ideal as a candidate for England. Might just be the short term, because I think he's in his 60s, isn't he now? So
something like that. No?
The guy's getting on a bit, but there's who else is outstanding that could come in, and I know we know Eddie Howe is, but we don't want to lose Eddie Howe, so that's why I'm saying Bielsa.
Pochettino's not in the job as well.
But would he want to? But would Pochettino want to do international football? He might want to be back in club football. Tuchel doesn't want to do any football at the minute. He wants to have a break.
Yeah.
So that rules him out. I just don't know who you've got out there who would come in and do a job, But apart from Bielsa would be my tip. Most of all, anyway.
Yeah, Ortiz says, I don't want to see Southgate near this team again. Gareth, shitgate. Southgate's just a shit Roy Hodgson. I mean, it was rotten under Roy Hodgson as well. Don't get me wrong about that. Liam says it shouldn't be in Qatar anyway. I don't get why they put it in Qatar as well.
Oh, going on that, Pete.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Going on that, Pete, I'm going to share you a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is well done. And I'm going to say this is well done to Hummel and to Denmark. So, yeah, it goes. I don't know if anybody's seen this. Now, this is the Denmark kits for the World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah.
Now, Hummel have done this deliberate. What they've said is they do not want to be visible in Qatar. So what they've done is Hummel is they've darkened all their name off so people can't see it, because this is a protest from Hummel against Qatar having the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't want any visibility. And the reason they've got the black shirt is that's called their in mourning shirt. At the workers who have been killed through human rights violations in Qatar whilst building stadiums, ones who have been killed through working long hours building them stadiums. So the reason they brought the black one out is a sign of respect for those workers who have died. I think that's a great move from Hummel and from Denmark.
Yeah.
Because gotta look at it, Qatar is far worse than what Saudi Arabia is. People keep banging on about Saudi Arabia, but I'm sorry, Qatar is far, far worse than Saudi Arabia. And I think that's brilliant. And we've got to make a stand against them, you know. That's why the England, Germany, and a few other countries are going to wear One Love with the rainbow on the captain's armband, because over there, things like gay, lesbian, all that sort of thing, LGBTQ, that's all legal in that country. So we want to make a stand and say, look, come on, let's all be united. So I'm all for that as well. But I think that's brilliant from Denmark and from Hummel. I don't know what you lads think.
Yeah, I think that is as well.
And John and Chippaz.
The one thing I'll say, they've done the right thing, but the one thing I will say is if clubs are doing this, why don't they just say we're not taking part? I know it's a World Cup and everything like that, but then that makes a bigger stance, and you know what I mean? It's like, I think in this situation, for where it is, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And I think if you turn up, you're going to you could get slaughtered for saying but you like, say for example, we're wearing like the One Love stuff, which is great because it shows that we're standing for equality and things like that. But then people might go, yeah, but you're still playing in Qatar. You're still getting paid to do it. So it's like, there's all it's a hard thing to say. It's a hard thing to talk about, because it's like, well, it's obviously it's a good thing to debate, but it's a hard thing to talk about because the players are still going to be playing there, rather than them saying, "Oh, no, I'm not going." I'm literally surprised that there's players out there who said, "I'm not going to the World Cup even if I'm selected because of this." I'm surprised at that. I mean, I had a go at Miguel Duane. He had a bit of beef on the other week about it, and I said, "Well, are you going to the World Cup?" Because he was slagging Saudi off, and I said, "Well, are you going to the World Cup in Qatar?" Yeah. And he said, "Yeah, he was going." And I said, "Why don't you just report on it from home? Like, because we're watching it from home. Why aren't you reporting it from home? Like, and you might get a better publicity because you're not going and you're making a stance on it." He said, "Well, you've got to be there to sample the atmosphere." And I'm thinking, no, you don't. You can sample it through the TV. You can sample it, there's other ways of generating it. And I said, you're just talking shite because you're getting paid to go there. That's all it is. It's the same reason. It's like, but they're too scared to admit it, really. They're too scared to admit that they're going there because they're getting paid. They're going to get all their hotel paid for. They're going to get their accommodation paid for. Instead of coming out and saying, you know what, yeah, you're right, I'm going there to earn a living, which a lot of people would respect for because they're being honest. It's like, but yet because Newcastle United are owned by people from Saudi Arabia, and you know, people are calling us for supporting them. It's like we supported Newcastle before this takeover happened. You, like, no offense, mate, well, you support Man U, and they, how long have they had Saudi investment and Middle Eastern investment? So it's, like I said, it's a case of, for me, if I was selected, I would be tempted not to go. That's just me, mate. I know it's a World Cup, and it might be your only World Cup, but then you say, you know what? I'm making a stand for the human rights records. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah, well said, Sam.
Well said, Sam.
Liam says anyone that watches the World Cup is a disgrace. I mean, there's some people who are not planning to watch it. Do you think Liam's got a point there?
He has in a way, yeah. I mean, just going back to, what Sam's saying. I mean, if the teams pull out, though, the thing is, does that risk it? If, say, for instance, say 10 teams decided, right, we're not going to compete in the World Cup, we're going to withdraw, but then FIFA might see you banned from playing in any other competitions until further notice, so there could be repercussions that way. But the Saudi, you see, when you get these journalists having to go at us having Saudi ownership, right? And this is what really, really grinds me, right? But these same journalists will be going to Qatar for the World Cup. They'll be going in nice hospitality boxes. They'll be in 5-star hotels, getting room service, getting everything paid for out there, and living the life of luxury. And also, I bet these same journalists as well that were calling us, I bet they all went to Saudi Arabia to watch Joshua Usyk fight and to sit there in their hospitality boxes and their 5-star hotels, being very well treated by the Saudis and given a nice welcome by the Saudis.
Yeah, possibly.
But they don't, and that would be the same journalists who slate our club for having Saudi ownership, but then they're quite happy to go to their country for a boxing match and have all the hospitality and all the perks and everything. But they're not calling the Saudis then, are they?
No, they're
so
not.
These people are just bloody hypocrites at the end of the day, So, they need to get a grip. But as I was saying before, Qatar is worse than Saudi Arabia for human rights. And there was people were working, some of them workers were working 12 to 16 hours a day for a pittance. And I mean a pittance. They were probably only picking up a $5 a day, maybe. And they were building on the roofs of stadiums. Some of them were falling to their deaths. And you know what? They just hired more workers. And workers who were finishing off around the stadium and they were cleaning the seats and things like that. If they didn't follow what they wanted, so if they didn't do their job properly, the immigrants were marched out the country and told, that's it, off you go. We'll get some more immigrants in who can come and do the job.
Yeah.
But people don't want to report on that, and that is the problem. And I will give Good Morning Britain, that was on a few weeks ago on Good Morning Britain about that, and they've come out with some credit over that. But you don't see many other news outlets reporting it, and especially the BBC will never report it because, they like to have everything. They like to look squeaky clean when they're not squeaky clean, the BBC, and we all know they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. JB says, isn't he leaving after it anyway? Well, if we're shocking, he's got to.
Didn't he get a new contract? I'm sure he got a new contract. I'm sure he did.
Says it's all about the money. It's why to Qatar, which you said, answered that Chippaz before. Andrew, hope you're well. Liam thinks Brazil will win the World Cup. I think they're going to be one of the favourites, in my opinion. This is a one from Mason. Hungary's left back is an English born who plays for Barnsley in League One. That just makes it more embarrassing. John?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Callum Styles' name is, by the way. And, he's supposed to be highly rated, but he should have gone to a bigger club. But look, at the end of the day, right, I'll go with Chippaz. I mean, we should not get beat by Hungary, right? No disrespect to Hungary. I'm sure they're a hard-working team. But to get beat 4-0 at home, getting losing in Hungary is bad enough. But getting beat 4-0 at home, it's embarrassing, man. It is absolutely embarrassing. I mean, look, we got good players there. I don't know what went wrong that day. I think Southgate got his tactics so wrong that day. I think Look,
Yep.
I think England thought they only had to win the game, but they got absolutely mauled by 4-0. It could have been a lot more, by the way, because we were that bad. And I'll tell you something, right? I mean, any more of this, he is done, I'm telling you. But it's just so embarrassing to be an England fan.
Yep. I like coffees in the house, WL. Qatar's human rights record is arguably worse than Saudi Arabia, so people are happy to watch it. You just said it there, Tony, just before. Well, Mason, there's Mason's comment. Chris Munn should be given a chance. He's changed a lot since he left that shit in Manchester. When you were saying it, John, he's done well for Roma.
I'm not going to lie, he has. I mean, he went on season-long loan. He was impressive. And when Jose came in, I think he's a better defender. He plays in a back three, by the way. In a back three, learning how to defend properly, and he's done exactly that. And I think he deserves it. He deserves another goal for England. I really do.
Yep, absolutely. Just bear with me a few moments. Tony, I don't know if you just read my comment throughout this there. If you want to see, you were going to say something about that.
Oh, yes. So yesterday I brought this up on John's show, and it's just in case we got anybody who didn't watch it yesterday or maybe. So a friend of mine, he's in a WhatsApp group with us as well, Northwest Mags. But I'm not going to name the lad who it is, but this guy was to buy some tickets off a guy from Facebook. 2 tickets for the Brentford game he had for sale. So obviously he messaged him, spoke to him, exchanged bank details, and sent him the money over, and it bounced back, so he had to do it again. And when he'd done it, the guy then said, oh, by the way, that's not the price, it's this price. You need to pay a bit more money into it. And now he twigged and thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Why does he want more money? And technically, he's been scammed. So he hasn't actually getting these tickets at all. And the thing is, what really annoys me is there are people out there who are taking advantage of innocent people who are going out there with their hard-earned money and wanting to get to football matches. And the thing is, what I would say to anybody who's in the chat tonight, spread the word to your friends, family, or whatever. Do not buy on Facebook. You know, I'm not saying everybody on Facebook's bad. Not, you know, I can't tar everybody with the same brush, but you've got to be careful, because at the end of the day, if you're going to buy tickets off somebody for the match, the best way to do it is do it in person. Then you can see that that person has got them tickets physically in their hand before you hand any money over to them. And then that way, at least you can trust that person. But when you do it via Facebook, they could say, oh, yeah, we've sent them out to you, you know, and they haven't sent them to you. And so people, please be aware of scammers out there, because they are operating at the moment. And, you know, and with us being on the up as a club, people are going to take advantage of this as well. And I think it's absolutely disgusting that people are scamming people out of money. You know, there's no need for it. I mean, I don't know if this guy's going to get caught or not. I hope he does, because he deserves to be caught. We don't know how many people he's probably done it to. But as I say, the best way to do it is either do it, maybe ask more questions, maybe see if they're trustworthy, you know. But always try and meet them in person and do the deed that way by buying the tickets, because as I say, when you buy them online, you don't know if they're going to send them tickets out or not. And it's just such a shame, because this guy is a lovely guy. This guy's actually met John before as well. You know, you shouldn't have to be scammed like that and lose out on money. You know, it's just absolutely disgusting, and people should be ashamed of themselves for doing this at the end of the day, because it shouldn't be happening in this world. And obviously, you know, there was on the news yesterday, there's another scam going around where people are finding people on WhatsApp and they're saying, "Oh, we're your family. We need some money for our electric bills because the cost of living's going up." And what they're doing is they're getting money off people. People are, if you're not savvy enough, people are sending the money to them, but they're not family. They're just taking the money and off they're going. So it's absolutely disgusting the way people are going on at the minute in this world, and it's just it's not a nice world to be in when people are doing that. So these scumbags out there who scam people, who think it's funny and think it's clever, need to think again, because one day the law will catch up with you, and when they do catch up with you, I hope they lock you up and throw away the bloody key.
Do you know what it is, Tony? Right, just quickly, right. I had a phone call a couple of times. Just off the record, right, from what is crypto business, and said, John, you made 5 figure sum. I'm not going to mention on here, but I said, okay, cool. So what they do, if you got any desk on your computer, please delete it, because at the end of the day, you use that, then they're gonna copy you as well. They're gonna watch what you're doing, and also as well, you got to watch out for these people that ask you for money as well. Like, go to your bank, get a loan, transfer to them, you get the money back. I've seen it happen before, and I tell you something, please do not do it. Like Tony said, if you want to buy a ticket, meet them face to face, and that way is legit, genuine, and also you got your ticket, they got the money, happy days.
Well, there you go. Well said, Tony. Absolutely well said there. Absolutely well said. Foxy says every continent deserves the opportunity to host a World Cup. We can't complain about Qatar yet. Where was the last World Cup hosted? Is that a great country?
That shouldn't have
Well,
happened.
it was. Well, it was in Russia, but that was before what happened.
But you know what, though?
Absolutely.
That was backhander as well. That was a backhander as well. That shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened in Russia at all either, because Putin's always had a reputation. So for me, that World Cup should never have happened either in Russia. It's quite clear Russia and this World Cup have been two ones that have been money, have been corruption. There's been corruption involved somewhere along the line, and there's been black envelopes or brown envelopes handed by to people, and it's quite clear the fact that because the people that organise it, Blatter and Platini, aren't in FIFA anymore, so it's quite clear that there was corruption there. I know they've been cleared of it and everything, but they're not involved with the FIFA anymore, so it's quite clear to me that there was some sort of thing going on. So
yeah, well, I like Coffee says I'd love to hear John speak more Italian. Scotland, my country, up, England down. Yes, I know you're from Scotland, Niall, so I know you'll be delighted and chuffed that yours are into the Group A. Ryan Fraser's been outstanding for Scotland in these 3 Nations League. Why can't he do this for Newcastle on a regular basis? That's really frustrating for me, I've got to admit. John, how do you say how the lads? How do you
Come here, Gardsy. Or you can say force on Newcastle. So come on, Newcastle. So come here, Gardsy.
John, how do you say it in a Mang accent?
Niall says, can you
John
see
the Red?
Niall says, can you see Elliot Anderson choosing Scotland over England? I know it's ongoing. The reason he can't play for Scotland as well because of his grandma is Scottish.
Does he play for under 21s?
Yeah.
Yep, he has.
I think he'll stay there because he's got more chance of playing games for Scotland than England. Unfortunately.
God. Andrew says, would you not put Bruce in for England? No. I had enough of him at my club. Why do I want to have to watch him again for me country?
He deserves a chance, man. He's a family guy. He's a nice guy. He's a nice family man. He deserves a chance of managing the man. He's a really nice guy. He deserves a chance, man.
Mason thinks we need a French manager in for England.
Who?
Very interesting.
Well, who?
A French
Who's available?
manager.
That's French.
Yeah, Wenger, but he wouldn't do it.
No, he wouldn't now.
No, he's too. I think he's in his 70s as well, isn't he? So he's.
Yeah.
I think his days are gone of managing football again.
He enjoys what he does for FIFA, doesn't he? Yeah. So.
Yeah, Louis says
he's part of the reason why things like this are happening, because he wants World Cups every year. He wants European Championships every year. he wants touch-ins instead of throw-ins, and yeah, I respect what he did at Arsenal, but stuff like that doesn't work. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not. No,
Louis, good evening. Was that England shit 115? Says Louis. No, it wasn't. I didn't go for that one, the 115 one. But it was about 75. But what I will say,
Jesus.
But what I will say on this, perfect fitting. Castori, take notes.
For 70, it should be for 75 bloody quid.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's if we've got Castori next year. I reckon he'll be gone next season.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
But if we've got Castori, make the shits to fit properly. Because this one,
I think
Nike, who is England's kit manufacturer, perfect fitting. But the only thing with Nike is they only do 3XL up to the max. But
go away 97 foot tall.
It's about time I got a top that fitted properly in terms of it being a football top. So there.
Exactly.
Leave says Poch for England. Yeah, I would definitely take him. Pep for England. I can't see Pep leaving Man City at the moment. Bruce would relegate England again. I don't think we'd even qualify for
anymore. Huh?
I don't think
can
we'd
you
even
relegate
qualify
anymore?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I don't think Bruce would ever qualify for the Euros or the World Cup.
No.
Mason says, John, I'm surprised you don't want any ex-Man United managers as the New England manager.
Does he want Fergie? You want Fergie's manager?
I like that he says, Carrick is unbeaten as manager, according to I Like Coffee. I like how he says, what would be an awesome new place to host the World Cup? Wow.
Well, there's no real new place to host them because everywhere in the world's practically hosted the World Cup. It's just you just keep going around in circles eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. Foxy says Smalling and Tamuri are our best two in-form centre-backs right now. Not even debatable.
No. I thought he said smelling. I was like, who's smelling like? I've never seen
If you want to call Smalling, call him Maldini if you want to call him that.
Oh, get my mama, John.
Oh, no. Not in the same patch as him, but that game that the Roman fan calls him
just see what's happening here, Chippaz, right? John mentioned Smalling, the Man United connection again.
Yeah.
Andrew says Chippaz for PM. I like how he says a lot of the workers in Qatar have to work in the heat and aren't even allowed to complain.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mason, I forgot he's at Millwall now. My bad. It's on about the player that was at Barnsley, the Hungarian left back. On a loan, though, or only on loan. I almost I like how he says I almost got scammed into TeamViewer when I was younger. I'm surprised they're shit sponsors.
Oh.
Louis says Mark Goldbridge in. I heard there was a comment. Was it on Paul's show the other day or yesterday?
Yeah.
There you go, almighty.
Do you know what I would say, Pete, as well? I know this is gonna, it's a shame Southgate doesn't go and see Serena Weigman and ask for any ideas of how to win a trophy, because I'm sure she can explain to him how to win the Euros. She done it with England, and yes, it was a hard game against Germany in that final, but I tell you what, at least we came through it, and maybe Southgate should take notice, because if you watch the women's team in that Euros,
yeah,
we were playing attacking football every game.
Absolutely.
And, we were going for it, and that's why we got the final and won that.
Yep.
But she wouldn't be a bad show for England manager, and neither would Emma Hayes, the Chelsea manager. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, why do you want a woman in charge of a man's team? Sorry, but you get men in charge of women's teams. I mean, the Arsenal manager is a Swedish guy.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, if it was Emma Hayes, I wouldn't have a problem with that, because I reckon she would kick a few arses in that team.
She would.
And, she's done very well for Chelsea. And apparently, when Tuchel was there, she says she used to communicate with Tuchel as well. So they used to communicate with each other and bounce ideas off each other. And she probably does the same with Potter. But she wouldn't be a bad shout. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a bad shout as well. I mean, John, I know Chippaz thinks when it comes to the World Cup, we'll might get past the group stages, but that's it. How do you think would go in this World Cup as well?
For me, I mean, I said the other day, I think we're going to go as far as the group stage. But if we get past the group stage, Pete, I think the farthest going to go is quarterfinals, and that is it. Because at the end of the day, right, we're not going to win the World Cup. We'll talk. You haven't got good enough players there. Yeah, people saying going about Harry Kane's world class. He is world class, but only a couple of them are world class. Only a couple. Yeah, I know Chippaz is laughing, but I could be wrong. But look, some of these players, right? I mean, aren't good enough. It's well documented. Maguire is not good enough. I mean, look, Luke Shaw. Let's be real. Everyone's bigged him up because he scored that goal against Germany. Yeah, this is a poor German team, by the way. This is one of the worst Germany team I've seen in years. Yeah, let's not get it twisted here. Yeah, but what we haven't got is creativity. Where's the creativity in that team? We ain't got it. James Ward-Prowse. Why is he not being picked?
Exactly. I mean, he's quality on set. He's brilliant on set pieces, and he's not been picked. Same with why didn't Abraham get picked? The same with Tomori. The same with Tony. Ivan Tony. He got Gareth Southgate selected him, never played him. Rice, I think Rice has been poor for England lately as well.
Oh, yeah, very poor.
He has, but yet this guy here, or Relegate, he's going to pick him. He's going to pick him, right? You know what I mean? I mean, we as England fans, you look at all these other nations, right? They've all got creativity player, yeah, because these managers are absolutely smart, yeah? Here we are. We are so predictable how we're going to play. So predictable.
Yep.
They know how we're going to play. We know the formation we're going to play. And we're just going to pass the ball sideways, flipping backwards all the time, yeah? And you know what? Even Harry Kane had to drop back in midfield. That's how bad it is.
Absolutely, because the other players are not doing the job. The fact is, Chippaz, in the Italy game, he had Saka at left wing back, a guy who's been brilliant as a right winger, particularly for Arsenal. And Southgate thinks, oh, well, I'm going to put you in left wing back for the Italy game.
The thing is, as well, for this tournament, he selected 3 left backs for these 2 games. I think he selected Shaw, Chilwell, and was it the Palace left back he called up as well? And then he didn't play any of them till the 70th minute in the first game. Bye. And then you go, oh, Saka, mate, you've been fantastic this season, but I'm putting you at left wing back when you've been playing right as a right wing forward all season. I don't know. He's like, I can't stand it. I'm sick of it. That he comes out. He came out as well on Friday and said, oh, it's a step forward in the right direction. I thought, we've got beat. We've had 1 shot on target in the whole game and we've got beat.
The fact is, when we conceded against Italy, he then brings a left back on.
Yeah.
Of all people.
As well, our subs bench had more creativity on it than our starting 11. If you look at who are on the bench, our players like Grealish on the bench who are more creative than the players that are playing. It's just, he baffles me, you know. He baffles me how he can't get it right because he's been in the job long enough to be able to get it right, and he's had the chances to get it right, and he still can't do it. And I said on Monday after Germany got that penalty, I said, Gareth, when you trust players like Maguire who aren't good enough, that's what happens to you. They let you down week in, week out. They let us down week in, week out, and you'll still come back and say, well, he's my best player. He's one of our better players. I said, aye, but the better players are letting you down. That's the so-called better players that you rely on are letting you down. So why don't you have the balls to come out and admit it that, you know what? Yeah, he does well for us, but today he let me down. He let you all down. And Harry Maguire, I'll come out and apologise for it. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? If he's come out and apologising for his performance, that he's not been good enough, and yet the manager has come out and saying he's playing well enough. Like I said, the bloke hasn't played since the 10th of August or something. We're now into October next week. So how does that one get anywhere near the England team? I mean, if that's the case, me, Tony, and John, and you could be in the England team because we haven't played football for how long? I mean, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tony, what was Maguire doing for that penalty anyway? That's a penalty you shouldn't be giving away.
He's a liability. That's why, Pete. I mean, you go back to the Euros with Maguire. He weren't too bad in the Euros, and I mean that penalty he put away against Italy. He took the net off, didn't he?
He did well there. Yeah.
Because I was expecting when he stepped up for that penalty, I thought, oh, why the hell's Maguire take the penalty? But he put it away, and he put it away with aplomb. And showed certainly Rashford how to take a penalty.
Again, another player who didn't get called up by Southgate, even though some don't highly rate him, but it's been fantastic for Man United this season as well.
Well, I wouldn't say fantastic. I wouldn't go that far.
I think he's done. I've got to agree. I think he's done well. I've got to admit he has done well.
I mean, he scored goals, but maybe there's something gone on between him and Southgate. You don't know. Maybe they've had a row somewhere, and Southgate said, "Oh well, I'm not picking him no more." Regardless, he might, he could go out there and probably bang in 10 goals in 3 games, and he probably would get ignored by Southgate. So. But yeah, the Harry Maguire thing, I just don't know what he was doing for that penalty the other night. But then I thought the penalty we got given, surely Schlotterbeck should have been sent off because of them studs, the way they went down the shin.
It looked quite nasty, didn't it?
And he got a yellow card for it. And remember, this is a player we were linked to back in January, Nico Schlotterbeck.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Can I just add the Harry Maguire penalty thing as well? Why on earth was he protesting that wasn't a penalty? I mean, it was absolute stone wall. It was the most clearest penalty you could see, and the referee had a clear view of it. I thought honestly, it would go like that as if he was diving and tell him to get up. I thought you've hung a leg out and he's went over it.
I mean, I don't think Trippier has made an appearance in the past 2 games as well.
No, which I'm pleased about because it saves him getting injured.
A lot of people have said that because we don't want our players injured. I mean,
I was half expecting them to play a left back. Sorry, I was half expecting to play a left back on one of the 2 games.
I know people that are pointing the finger at Pope for the third Germany goal, but you can't just point it down to him. You've got to point the rest of the players who were just useless.
There's 2 more phases as well. There's 2 more phases to that goal. The first goal is the let Sane shoot. Right, nobody closed him down, and the second one, nobody followed Havertz in. Shaw just stood there and watched him go past him, and I thought, I'm sorry, but you meant to react to that, and you just stood there, watch Havertz walk past you and tap it in. Ridiculous. So Pope, should have saved it, but at the end of the day, they could have done a lot better, like defensively as a team, as opposed to just blaming Pope.
Absolutely. Obviously, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with it, it's right what Chippaz is saying, that, Shaw should have followed in. And, I mean, when I used to play as a goalkeeper, and I know if you save a shot from out the area, you rely on your defenders to be around you, because it might be a shot that's strong, and you might either palm it away, or you might spill it. But then you've got the knowledge of a defender being there to put the ball into Rose head.
Yeah, that's it.
But the problem is, nobody followed him in, Havertz, and like Chippaz said, Pope, probably should have had it. But then again, it's one of those things. How many times have we seen this happen with keepers? Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. You go back to 20 years to the World Cup in South Korea. Remember the Ronaldinho free kick? David Seaman. To get beaten like that. And the way people were slagging Pope off online was really annoying me, because they were like, oh, well, this proves why Pickford's number 1, because Pope's not good enough. And I thought, hang on a minute. Pope is bloody good enough. He's won the top keeper. He's a top keeper in the Premier League this season. On stats alone, on saves, him and David Raya are the 2 top keepers in the Premier League. And yet you're telling me he's not good enough for England. The problem is, it's the shite that's in front of him that Pope's not sure of. Because when you're watching for us, he knows in front of him he's got a strong back 4. For England, who play with a back 3 and 2 wing backs, he's looking at them and he looks at Maguire. He's got no confidence in Maguire, and it's just, And so some people need to pull their head out of their arses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Reece James has been poor as well. I don't think he was any good in the games as well.
You know
Free
what it
kicks
is?
were absolutely woeful. And
Shocking.
that's where we need a Trippier for them free kicks
Absolutely.
or a Ward-Prowse.
There you are. I like how he says Mark Goldbridge, better manager than Southgate and Bruce. He has over 10 years experience in management from FIFA and played high scoring tiki taka football with YouTubers. Oh, there you are. Foxy says, I had a call from British Columbia telling me that a member of my family had been kidnapped in Ohio. So many scams now. Unfortunately, the elderly fall for it. Usually it's PayPal or Microsoft scams. Jesus.
And you know what? It is as well. When they don't get their own way, they get so violent and stuff like that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't go far as that. Just block them straight away. Not interested.
That's it. Absolutely. Louis says, managed to get tickets for all their UFC home games so far this season. Loving my membership. Nice one, Louis. Did anyone see the video after the game against Germany, seeing Maguire limping? Yes, I think I did see a video of that, actually. Did anyone else see that?
To be honest with you, Pete, I didn't. I didn't see it at all. Didn't see it at all.
I was playing darts on Monday night, so I was first up for my game. So luckily enough, after I finished my game of darts, I was able to sit and watch the match. But I didn't see it at the end because as soon as the final whistle went, I got up and went back in to go and support my teammates. You know.
Yeah.
So I must have missed that him limping. He must have just done that just to. He must have been aching. You know, it's hard work when you don't play for so long.
Even the gents just got on. Says about time. Hope you're well. I mean, when it comes to Southgate selecting these players, John, you just know for the World Cup he's going to have his favourites.
Do you know what it is? Not just that we're sleepwalking to the World Cup, but you're right. I mean, we know he's going to pick, right? There's no good second guessing him. Do you know what I mean? We know he's going to play like Maguire, the Shaws, the John Stones if he's fit, Ryan James, Saka, Bellingham, Declan Rice, Sterling, Kane, Foden. He picks his favourites all the time. And you know what it is, right? I would like to see someone different. I want to see something different. I said to Tony before that if he changes it up, right, and have a real go, right, and still get beat, then I'll take it. But he's not going to change it up because he'll come out and say, look, I don't want to play that way. We played this way before and we got stuff. We haven't given it a flipping chance, Gareth. Do you know what I mean? But he will pick his favourites and he doesn't care what the public opinions say. He'll pick his favourites, Pete, and usual suspects every single time.
Well, we all know Tony Maguire's going to be in there. 100% he'll be selected for the World Cup.
Well, not just Maguire, it'll be Shaw as well. He'll be in there as well. You know he's going to be in there. Rice will be in there. Phillips will be in there. You know, even though Phillips hasn't played for Man City this season, he's still got a call up for the England squad. You know, it just absolutely stinks. You know, and you should be picking players on form and players who are playing. And this is where, you know, the Elliot Anderson thing as well. Yes, he's playing for the Scotland under-21, so he can still play for England until he makes a formal, an international appearance for Scotland in full international. But that's got to be in a competitive game, by the way. But if he's got the choice of England or Scotland, I can't see him picking England because if you've got relegate in charge, well, the thing is,
you're not play again.
Who's going to want to play there? Who's going to want to play for England? I mean, Muslera, who could have played for England, chose to play for Germany because of the same thing, because he knew Southgate wouldn't pick him. But I'll tell you another player who comes out of that England team with credit. And if we do go on to at least the quarterfinals in the World Cup, I think he'll be a roaring success in the World Cup. And I think he could be a huge star in the World Cup, and that's Jude Bellingham. 19 years of age.
Absolutely. I think he's got a bright talent ahead of him, and I think we'll see him in the Premier League very, very soon. Won't
see him next season because he's going to Madrid, apparently.
Oh, well, that's fair. But
can I just add one? Sorry, Peter. Can I just add one thing on Maguire? I bet you he doesn't play again till the first game in the World Cup. I bet he doesn't play again till then.
I mean, if he's been dropped Man United for a reason, then Southgate
The-
should be looking at that.
They're winning games without him, so he's not going to pick him unless they get an injury. So I don't think he's going to play again until we kick off against Iran in the World Cup.
I mean, Walker at centre back was another one as well. Dreadful.
Liability he was.
Agree.
I
You
mean,
just
why
got
is
about
again player out position. I know he has played in that role, but nah.
You know what it is like, Pete? I mean, you just touched on Maguire not getting a game for United, right?
Who?
Martinez and Varane are both playing fantastically now.
Oh, yeah, my God.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
Maguire.
He's been waiting for this. Look at him, man. He's been waiting for a big Man United all night.
I'm not a United fan, all right? I read Macy.
Sorry,
Go on, Tony.
Sorry, John. There's only one United, and it's not, and that's Newcastle United,
Exactly.
not the red shaded.
You see that shovel? You see that shovel, John? Just keep digging.
That's why you got us on.
Yep, absolutely.
That's why you.
I'm up to with me comments. It's about time says. I can't pronounce his first name. I'm trying not to butcher that up. And Tomori should be our centre back pairing.
Did I mention that the other day, John?
You did. You sure did. You sure did.
I find it hilarious that us as fans can see where the best and strengths and weaknesses are, but our manager can't, and he still stick up for the weaknesses that he keeps picking. I just find it hilarious that
He's the biggest weakness. Southgate is.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Who else do you think he's going to pick? That's one of his favourites as well. That is just doesn't do well for the country.
Declan Rice. He's playing for at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was great I thought he did well in the Euros, but I've not seen. But I don't think he's been good enough for West Ham this season as well.
No,
nah.
His standards have been really low this season.
I mean, Bowen got selected, and I don't think he's made an appearance, but he's been terrible this season as well.
They haven't been that great, West Ham, this season, really, haven't
they? They haven't.
Not at all.
It's just scared as you just ask him, why is Southgate picking these players? Well, you know why, in a way.
You can flip it though last season, but did West Ham not overachieve last season? That's how you've got to look at it for me to do.
But again, it goes back to the question, why is Southgate picking these players?
Yep.
Again, part of his favourites.
Another one will be John Stones.
John Easton.
Yeah.
I mean, people are saying like, Dan Burn not given a chance, Tomo not given a chance. Yeah, they won't pick him. I think he's on borrowed time, Southgate. He really is, guys. And you know what? All eyes will be that first game against Iran. If we don't get a result there, I said earlier on, then nice way out for him, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a program. Say a program. I was listening to it. This was Talk Sport, by the way, and they were saying on there, they said if you could put John Terry in the Rio Ferdinand in that prime in this England defence now, half these goals wouldn't be conceded.
Yeah,
absolutely, totally agree, man. Totally agree. Because you know why? Because they could defend properly.
We won't be playing with a back five, would we? Would we?
No,
not a chance.
If you think of it, we'd have Terry Ferdinand, and we'd have Ashley Cole at left back, and we'd have Gary Neville at right back. Now you telling me that would probably be arguably the best international defence at this current time.
Yeah. Mason said there's only one team in Manchester as well. Did John say he's not a United fan? Me, my other comment, mate, would like to hear the lads' thoughts. I think we're just rattled with that one about the centre back pairing. But as well, I mean, I'm not looking forward to the World Cup myself. The way England have been playing, I mean, if we haven't picked up a win in this UEFA Nations League, how does it give any confidence?
If we had beaten Germany on Monday night it would have just papered over cracks because
No way, yeah.
Exactly.
That was
that's
mentioned a
all
lot
it
as well.
does at the minute, papering over cracks, and that's what that 10, 15 minute second half period did, papered over massive cracks to the fact
You
that
did.
for 70 minutes we were absolutely diabolical again.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you can't have that in international football. You can't have that in style football where everything's just been papered over by cracks. We had it for 14 years as a football club under Ashley, and it's like, we know all about that. We know all about papering over cracks and just filling in, and that'll do. And it's not good enough, man. You need to set standards in international football, and if we're going to a World Cup, right, teams aren't going to be asked to be playing with. I mean,
No,
people are meant to be scared of England. Yeah, it's no offense, right? You would expect to get at least 7 points out of them 3 games, but you could easily say we might only win one of them. It's that could end up only getting 4 or 5.
I mean, remember the 2014 World Cup? 1 point.
Yeah,
Costa Rica.
Yeah, the USA game could easily be. I mean, the Iran game could be like, remember the 2010 World Cup when we played USA in the first game? Gerrard scored early on. You thought, oh yeah, we'll go. England are going to do something. And then we shot ourselves in the foot. You could easily see that being a similar thing.
2010 World Cup was dire as well, I thought. I mean,
tell me a good.
Euro 2016, I know we got past the group stage, but when it came to Iceland, of all teams...
Yeah. Tell me a good tournament that we've had. I know we got the final of the Euros and we got the semi-final of the last World Cup, but did we play great in any of them games? And who did we play in them games to get to them tournaments finals? That really were games that we thought were hard. Let's be honest. We played the teams that we should be beating. So it's people that can say what they want and say, oh yeah, but Gareth did this for, Gareth did that for. Yeah, but we beat the teams you would expect us to beat.
I mean,
it's simple as that.
We did well in.
I think the best probably tournament we had. Not a lot of people might have been around then, but I'm going back to 1990 under Bobby Robson. We got out the group stage, then we played Belgium in the second round. We beat them 1-0. David Platt's goal in extra time. And then we played Cameroon in the quarterfinals. Now, bearing in mind, Cameroon in that World Cup were pretty brilliant, and Roger Miller, for an old man on a Zimmer frame, was doing very well. Scored banging goals in left, right, and centre for Cameroon. I think it was about 38, 39. So we got past, and we beat Cameroon 3-2. And then we got to the semis and we lost to Germany on penalties. But I think that was probably the best tournament because we did really well in that tournament. And it's down to penalties at the end of the day that we lost that. We didn't lose to Germany by an overall margin. I mean, we were losing to Germany and Lineker equalised. But that was probably the best tournament I've seen. And remember, back in 1988, when Robson was manager in the Euros, Euro 88, when we lost to Holland, when Van Basten and Rod Hullett and all them were on form that year.
Yep.
When Robson lost that in the group stage, we were there because we got beat off Russia in that as well, 3-1. Now, Robson was on the verge of losing his job, but for some reason the FA kept him on. And look what he did. He took England to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Now, had they got past Germany, I think England would have smashed Argentina in that final because they wanted revenge for 86.
Yep. I mean, what about this tournament? I didn't think it was too bad. Euro 96.
Yeah.
Terry Venables. Again, we went out on penalties in the semi-final. Was it the semi-final?
Yeah, we did. Southgate. I guess you missed that penalty.
Southgate.
Yes.
Pizza Hut.
That
was a game where Gaza said he wished he'd had a boot on that was half a size longer than his feet because he would have scored that goal, that one he just missed by an inch.
Oh yeah, I mean, but remember that goal he scored against Scotland though.
Oh, that's got to be one of the best goals in the tournament.
You had Shearer playing, who was banging in a few goals as well. You had Sheringham playing as well. Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about that the other night.
We're kind of missing a team like that, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of saying this to John the other night. Like, I look at some of the great goals we've scored as England teams, and I've got to look at Gaza's. Not only was the goal brilliant against Scotland, but then the dentist chair's celebration straight afterwards was brilliant, because that was typical Gaza, Gaza was a showman, and he was brilliant at it. Not just a brilliant player, but a brilliant entertainer, showman, Some people called him a clown, but you know what? He didn't give a shit, Gaza. He was absolutely fantastic. And so I've kind of put that goal as probably the best goal that England have scored, maybe. And then I sort of put Michael Owens behind that because the one against Argentina, when Owens scored in that 98 World Cup, that was one hell of a goal. And as much as we don't really like Michael Owen, but you've got to give him credit. That was one hell of a goal against an Argentinian side that were very strong, with Simeone in the side, the day when Beckham got sent off.
Yes, I remember that as well.
I tell you what, if Messi's going to go like that, the way Owen's going to go, that we talked about it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Covey says Telegraph Football revealed the weekly wages of Gail, Hendrick, Hayden, and Clark. I've seen something about that. I've PD, Tony, John, Chippaz, many footballers. Yeah, I've met quite a few Newcastle players.
Yeah, met a few of them.
Yeah,
I like Covey says John probably have just met Man United players. It's about time anyone heard of Viagra United's supposed to be up and coming.
I think the question with them is, can they steal?
Are they hard enough?
Yeah. Billy, good evening. So Bobby wasn't a good manager. We should have won the 86 World Cup, but Bobby persisted with Wilkins and Robson, who was crocked and not starting Bonds against Argentina. That's a good point Billy's made. I've got my mid, he has.
Yeah, because when Bonds came on, he set that goal up, didn't he, for Lineker against Argentina?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yep, so... There we are. Well, guys, we'll come to the end of the show. So what we'll do is we'll go around and ask a question. And the question is, if England are terrible, will Southgate be sacked? Chippaz, will he be sacked if we are shocking in the World Cup?
I want to say yes, but I think knowing them, they'll probably say no and do the safe option and keep him because, you can't be surprised with anything at the minute. And I think, to be honest, they could have sacked him after these 6 games just for how bad they've been, but they've kept him for that, so I can't see why an extra 2 or 3 games at the World Cup is going to make any difference.
Yeah, John, is Southgate getting sacked if we are terrible in the tournament?
He has to. He has to be sacked because he's got to get us to the quarterfinals at least. If he doesn't, it's a complete utter failure. It comes down to team selection as well. And me personally, he's got to change things up. He's got to change the tactics up. He's got to play a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. We have got the players to play those 2 formations, right? The theatre back doesn't work. I want to see entertaining football. I want to be exciting football. I want to see us play for the front foot, and give it a real go. And if he doesn't do that, then you have to go and start afresh for the Euros. For me, is he going to stay? My opinion, I think he should be sacked. He's got to get to the quarters at least, otherwise he's done.
Yeah, Billy says in the 90, we went with a sweep because the players told Bobby they wanted that, England are terrible. Southgate won't get sacked, saying I like Covey. Bobby was a 4-4-2 man for England, like he was in Newcastle as well.
Yes, he was.
Southgate is a yes man, he won't get sacked. Now, fight on you, Tony. Will Southgate get the sack if we are shocking in the World Cup?
Well, he shouldn't even be going to the World Cup. I'm sorry, John. Pete. He should be sacked now. He should be sacked imminently and gone now, and get a manager in to help get us to win that World Cup or get us very close to that World Cup glory. So I'm sorry. I don't even think he should even be going to the World Cup. But if he goes to the World Cup, I hope he gets sacked after that. Now, and I don't want this to sound awful, but if we have got Southgate as manager, I hope we don't get out the group stage, and I hope he gets sacked there and then, because the man should not be going to the World Cup. The man should be sacked now. He's a fraud. He's a disgrace to the team. He's took England as far as he possibly can. And I think if he was honest with himself, he should turn around and say, do you know what? Actually, I can't do any more than this. I have to go. But you know what? He's another Steve Bruce. He won't do it. The reason why, he wants the money like Steve Bruce does. And he's got a contract till 2024, so he knows that the FA will have to give him a big compensation payoff.
Yeah.
And that is why he will not resign. But this guy has to go now. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, I support England, you know, and I love to see England do well in World Cups and Euros and all this. But the way I'm feeling about Southgate at the moment, if we didn't get out the group, that would be success to get rid of Southgate. That's why I'm saying that. I would love us to go on and win the World Cup. The best England have got a chance of winning the World Cup, but it'll be the England team that's going to Australia in October that will probably have a chance to win the World Cup more than the football team. I'm talking about the cricket team. You're going down there for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, Billy says he's wasting the current golden generation. He's got to go. Yeah, agree 100%. Tony Gareth, Cashgate. Well, yeah, I know a lot of people said he should be gone now, but for me, after the World Cup, we are terrible. Got to be out the door. Definitely got to be out the door for me. Well, that is it for tonight's show. Coming up throughout the rest of the week, tomorrow we've got the preview for the Fulham game, and we've got tomorrow as well the usual football live show. The shows are going to start a little bit later on, so the preview is going to start around about 7:15, and the PD's football live show is going to start around 9:15. It's just because with me just getting back from work, because I'm going to be back from work just a little bit later. Okay, but we'll still be doing those tomorrow, definitely. So feel free to tune in. Like how he says, bye PD, John, Chippaz and all. Of course, please do check out John's channel, John Sinclair TV. John, what we got coming up as well?
We've got the preview. It's going to be either tomorrow or it could be Friday. But I'm trying to get a Fulham fan on as well. I've EM'd him. He's away for an answer from the guy, so hopefully he'll come on. Saturday, I'm going to try to do the warm-up, but I'll take my car in for get me off. It'll change. Will I get back on time? I don't know, but I'll let you know on that one. But I'm definitely going to do the match reaction after the game on Saturday. What's the best time, Tony, would you say, for match reaction show after Fulham game?
I would say maybe 6 o'clock, 6:30, John, something like that. That gives people time after the match to maybe had some dinner, had tea or whatever, you know, and have something to eat. So maybe 6, 6:30, maybe.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I'll come on if you want. I'll come on if you want. If you want fans to come on.
Yeah, you'll come on, Chippaz. You're welcome to. You're welcome to come on.
I'm hitting the night out after the game. So
wow, with your girlfriend there, Peter.
No, just a couple of friends. So there you are. But anyway, guys, that is it again for tonight. Again, of course, do check out John's channel, John Sinclair TV. As well. And again, please, if you have enjoyed tonight's show, of course, do stick the thumbs up. Please, of course, do hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, or if you're enjoying the content and you're not yet subscribed as well. You can still donate as well. And of course, feel free to become a member of the channel as well. Until next time, until tomorrow, guys, I will see you all later. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you all later. Take care. Good night, everyone.
Good night.